Quarterback play is always important in championship games, and that will be no different in the SEC championship game between Georgia and Texas. And for Georgia, that starts with Carson Beck. And for the senior, this has to feel like a full circle moment. In last year's SEC title game, that's where Georgia lost to Alabama, and after that game, Carson Beck said he wanted to run it back. He wanted to come back one more year to see if they could win the national title. But it hasn't all been roses. He's had stretches where he's looked great, throwing no interceptions, but then there was that stretch where he threw 12 picks in 6 games, and that had people doubting whether or not he was ready for this moment. Carson Beck's been under the spotlight for the entire season, and he reflected on what it's like to live in that spotlight, but he also reflected on what it would mean to win an SEC championship.
It makes me excited that, I came back and got to experience these things, and that's really difficult to say because it hasn't been easy, but we don't ever want it easy, and that's kind of the standard here at Georgia is you come here so that it's hard.
The SEC Championship will take place on Saturday at 4 p.m. at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Reporting from the Georgia World Congress Center, I'm Joey Lamar, WSAV News 3. The Oval at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on the Jumbotron telling us that Georgia is your 2024 SEC champion. They defeat Texas for the second time this year, 22-19 in overtime. This was one of the best SEC championship games in recent memory. Georgia really should not have won this game. Kobe, what are your initial takeaways?
Well, my initial takeaway is that this could be a brand new SEC rivalry brewing. Texas brand new in the SEC. They make the SEC championship their first game they had this season. Georgia beat them 30-15, but this year Texas came out swinging 260 yards in the first half alone and only held Georgia to 54. How many times have you seen that in your life?
You haven't seen it a lot. Georgia actually had -2 rushing yards in that first half. Let's walk you through how the Dogs were able to get over last year's SEC championship game loss to Alabama and win the crown this year. This was arguably the most anticipated game on Conference Championship Saturday, the rematch between Texas and Georgia. The Bulldogs winning the first time in Austin back on October 19th, 30-15.
And the biggest play of the first half was the very last play. Texas up 6-3 with 1 second left on the clock. Carson Beck is hit as he throws. He fumbles the football. It's recovered by Texas. They would make a good return and even included some laterals, but all eyes were on Carson Beck, who was injured on the play. An apparent upper body injury, Georgia trailed 6-3 at the break.
Let's go to the second half now, where Georgia received the ball first, and it was Gunnar Stockton taking over for Carson Beck on offense. And the offense looked good on the opening drive. He completed 3 of his 4 passes for 36 yards.
And that drive was capped off by a Trevor Etienne touchdown run from 10 yards out. Etienne has not played since Georgia lost on the road to Ole Miss on November 9th. The first touchdown of the ball game by either team gives Georgia its first lead of the contest, 10-6.
Another Georgia field goal as Georgia extends its lead 13-6. That would be your score at the end of 3 quarters.
Now let's go to the final frame. The fireworks would start with a Texas touchdown, a 41-yard touchdown pass, and we're all tied up at 13 after the PAT.
With 22 seconds left in the ball game, they connect on this field goal. It ties the game at 16.
And this game would head to overtime. Georgia defense would come up with a huge stop on 3rd and 10. It forced a short field goal for Texas. They take the lead 19-16.
So for Georgia, a touchdown will win it. And they get close on this play. Gunnar Stockton on the quarterback keeper down to the 4-yard line. Targeting was initially called but not confirmed.
Beck comes in and hands it off to Trevor Etienne, who gets in for the game-winning 4-yard touchdown, and Georgia is going to win this one 22-19. What a comeback win by the Georgia Bulldogs, and what a way to end it. Kind of the way that they started the comeback on the back of Trevor Etienne. He gets in for the overtime touchdown. Second overtime game in a row for the Bulldogs. This one wasn't quite 8 overtimes, but got the job done once, so can't complain.
Hey, you cannot complain, especially if you're the Georgia Bulldogs. We were able to talk to some of the key players in tonight's win. What was that moment like when Trevor crossed the goal line and you knew that it was over?
Man, I was praying, but I had all the faith in the world because it just goes to show you like how hard we worked all year, and couldn't have it any other way.
This is your first game back since just playing at Ole Miss, and then to have close to 100 yards on the ground, and then the receiving yards as well, so over 100 all-purpose yards and then 2 touchdowns. Like, just explain what this game was to you.
I mean, it meant a lot. Just being available for my team, doing what I can to help us win, no matter what it was. And I've been chasing that 100 yards game all season, man. I don't know what it is, but I want to give a huge shout out to the O-line. They played well, great tonight. You know, that last touchdown doesn't happen without them.
What did you think when Carson Beck came back in the game to pick that last snap?
The job was done. The job was done. I just knew that we would walk out victorious.
You said during your press conference that you were disappointed in last year's SEC championship game loss. You remembered that feeling. What does it feel like now to be on the other side of it?
It feels great, you know, because like the confetti dropping, you know, you got your family and the fans and the crowd, you know, and everything you just work for throughout the year, you know, throughout the week, you know, and it just come down to that. So it's an undescribable feeling.
Now all the confetti behind us has been cleaned up since the big party after the game, the celebration on the field for the Georgia Bulldogs, but it's a short-lived one because the work here is not finished. Now they have a great springboard into the first ever 12-man college football playoff with a first-round bye.
And they have a first-round bye, as Kobe said. They will play in the Sugar Bowl. They don't know their opponent yet, but they will play the winner of two teams that the committee will reveal Sunday at noon when they reveal the entire bracket. Now, Georgia won the SEC championship right here. They want to be right back here again on January 20th to play for the national championship. We'll see if they can get that done. Have to win 3 more games to accomplish that goal. For Kobe Zach, I'm Joey Lamar, reporting from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta at the SEC championship. Stay with us. More news is next. The NFL living up to its business model, taking you down to the final seconds of a Jaguars win. It's their first win of the season. It definitely didn't disappoint, had ebbs and flows. Kobe, just your initial takeaways first.
Really excited about this offense. We know all of the talent that they have coming up. Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie from LSU, scored the second longest touchdown in Jaguars history, 85 yards, unbelievable to watch. Tank Bigsby had a big role. Even Brenton, the tight end, got in there. Everyone all around on offense, great football.
All right, let's take you to the Jaguars' first win. Like we said, it came down to the final seconds. This is the Jaguars' first home game in about a month.
Now to the final frame. This is where things went back and forth. Jags only up 3, but they are on the 4-yard line, and Trevor Lawrence finds Bretton Strange, who had a big role in this one. Jacksonville enjoys a 27-17 lead.
Now, after the Colts made a field goal to make the score 27-10 in favor of Jacksonville, Tanks Bigsby with an enormous run here, 65 yards, is called a house call. Jacksonville with a 14-point lead with just over 5 minutes remaining in the contest.
But after this one, the Colts started chucking the ball. Under 3 minutes remaining now. It's a 65-yard bomb for Indianapolis. The 14-point fourth quarter lead is gone, and it's a tie ball game at 34.
Now Jacksonville can win the game with a field goal. They get it to the Indy 31. This a 49-yarder to give them the lead. Cam Little nails it. It's 37-34 with just 17 seconds remaining.
Last chance for Indy to pull off the miracle and get into field goal range, but Trayvon Walker, how fitting, he ends the game with a sack. In your final from Jacksonville, 37-34, Jags on top.
So obviously the mood in the locker room a lot happier than the last time that we were here when they lost. Let's hear from some of the players on their first victory of the season.
It's great, you know, it's just great for our offense, good at putting us in field position, and, you know, it makes it easier on us, you know, having to go 14, 15 play drives multiple times throughout a game. It's a little hard to sustain. So when you're able to have those explosives, get your offense down the field and put points on the board, you know, you're setting yourself up for success.
Can you walk us through that big play at the end of the first half, the fumble recovery that you had?
Me and Roy ran the text on our side. They picked up on it. And then the next thing I know, I just see, you know, Trey smacking Buddy and then the ball coming out. And then I saw Roy trying to grab it, and then he kind of knocked it out. So I kind of had to run around him, you know, a little scoop. I wanted to score, so I got to work on my speed, man.
They were kind of feeding you early in the contest. They had to feel good to get those touches.
Yeah, for sure. Just anything I could do for the team. Anything I could do is keep us on the field, get first downs, and just be a solution, not the problem. And I feel like the way that we started, we got to continue to start games like that, get a little more points on the board, and continue to finish strong like we did.
He wants the best for me just like he wants the best for himself. And like I say, that's something that we hold each other accountable on. Everybody in our room, up front, everybody in the defense, we just try to hold each other accountable. And just to get this win, it was amazing. So we just got to continuously build off of that.
And the Jaguars will look to build off their newfound momentum next week, bright and early at 9:30 a.m. in London against the Chicago Bears.
All right, their next home game will be October 27th right here at Everbank Stadium. For Kobe Zach, I'm Joey Lamar. That's why for sports. Stay with us. More news is next. Thanks, Kobe. As you can see, the uprights are missing. That was just part of a chaotic scene as fans stormed the field after Georgia Tech shot the number 4 team in the nation, Miami, 28-23, a signature win for Brent Key in his second year as head coach. Georgia Tech looking for its second victory over a top 10 team. Remember, they started the season upsetting Florida State in Dublin. Let's take you straight to the action in the second half. Georgia Tech leading 14-10, and it's the freshman at quarterback, Aaron Philo, with a beautiful ball to Chase Lane for a touchdown as the Yellow Jackets look to stun Miami up 21-10. Now we go to the fourth quarter. Georgia Tech leading 21-16, and Haynes King is back in at quarterback, and he keeps the ball on the option on 1st and goal. He crosses the goal line. Tech goes up 28-16. Now let's go to under 2 minutes left in the ball game. Georgia Tech up 28-23. Cam Ward scrambling. He is sacked. It's a fumble. It's recovered by Jordan Van Denberg, and Georgia Tech can feel it. And after Georgia Tech got the ball on 3rd and 8, Haynes King completes the pass to Eric Singleton Jr. It's a first down. He elects to slide, and that's your ball game after a couple nails downs. The number 4 team in the nation, no more. Miami loses this one, 28-23. Let's hear from head coach Brent Key and some of the players about this emotional win.
I ain't never seen nothing like it, like today. Like, storming the field, man, I always wanted to be a part of that, but it happened today, so, man, that's big time. It's big time.
Yeah, I've never had that ever happen, never had anyone rush the field for any other game. So I think we got the best fans in the nation. It was
super
really
energetic. Man,
lifelong
the crowd was
memory.
crazy today.
You can only talk trash when you're winning. We were up on them. There wasn't really that much trash talking going on, that's all.
And Coach Key talked about it all week, like keeping our edge, don't let them get in our head, just next play, because we already knew that they was going to talk trash. But like he said, you can't do too much talking trash when you're losing.
And the news keeps getting better for Georgia Tech. Their next game is not until November 21st. That's a Thursday, so they have a little extra time to prepare for that contest and a little extra time to calm down after such a crazy win. Reporting from Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta, I'm Joey Lamar, WSAV News 3 on your side.